Hello everybody, this is Laysa, a first-year student of Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering at University of Southern Mindanao, Cabacan. For today's video, I will show you how to get the derivatives of trigonometric function, logarithmic function, exponential function, and the maxima and minima problems. So, for this video, I am assigned to show you how I get those derivatives. Without further ado, let's jump on the video. In getting the derivatives of trigonometric function, we have this to memorize or just familiarize so that it is easy for us to get the derivatives. Now, let us proceed to the sample problem. We have y is equal to sine x all over 1 minus 3 cosine x. To get the derivative of it, we can apply a quotient rule, which is d over dx is equal to v times u prime minus u times v prime all over v squared. Before we get the derivative of this function, first we need to get the derivative of u and v, which u refers to the numerator and v to the denominator. Now let us get each derivatives. U is equal to sine x, and the derivative of sine x is cosine x, times the derivative of the inside, which is x, is 1. Cosine x multiplied to 1 is equal to cosine x. Next is the v is equals to 1 minus 3 cosine x. Here, there has a constant number, which the derivatives of all constant is 0. Then, the derivatives of negative 3 cosine x is negative 3 times negative sine x. The derivatives of the inside, which is x, is 1. So, our v prime is negative 3 times negative sine x. The next step to do is to input this value to equation. D over dx is equal to v times u prime minus u times v prime all over v squared. So, y prime is equals to v, which is 1 minus 3 cosine x times u prime, which is cosine x, then subtract to u, which is sine x, then multiply to v prime, which is negative 3 times negative sine x, and all over 1 minus 3 cosine x quantity squared. After inputting all values and their respected area, we need to simplify or multiply the quantity that need to be multiplied. Let us start on the cosine x. Cosine x multiplied to 1 is cosine x. Cosine x multiplied to negative 3 cosine x is negative 3 cosine squared x. Next is negative sine x multiplied to 0 is 0. Negative sine x multiplied to negative 3 times negative sine x is negative 3 sine squared x. We just rewrite the denominator 1 minus 3 cosine x, the quantity squared, and the next thing to do is to factor out the negative 3 from negative 3 cosine squared x minus 3 sine squared x. Now we have y prime is equal to cosine x minus 3 times the quantity of cosine squared x plus sine squared x all over the quantity of 1 minus 3 cosine x squared. Note that cosine squared x plus sine squared x is equal to 1. Let's simplify it further. We have y prime is equal to cosine x minus 3 times 1. It came from the trigonometric identity of cosine squared x plus sine squared x, and all over 1 minus 3 cosine x, the quantity squared. So the next thing is to multiply the negative 3 to 1, and it gives us a result of y prime is equal to negative 3 cosine x all over 1 minus 3 cosine x. So now let us proceed to the derivative of logarithmic function. In doing derivatives of logarithmic functions, we definitely have a properties of logarithms. You can use these properties to simplify the equation or function that you're going to take the derivatives, and you can simplify the thing down much easy into a much easier form. So now let us proceed to the sample problem. We have function of x is equal to natural logarithm of 3x plus 1 squared all over 4x minus 1 quantity q. We can see that it is a complicated stuff here. So we need to do is use a formula d over dx of natural logarithm function of x is equal to 1 all over function of x times the derivative of the function of x, so that we could take the derivative of that function. Before getting the derivative of that function, we can rewrite the function as abstraction, which is function of x is equal to natural logarithm of 3x plus 1 squared minus natural logarithm of 4x minus 1 cubed. Remember, if the natural logarithm have a power, we can pull out that power in front. We have not yet taken the derivative, but we just simplified it down using properties of logarithms. So now let us take the derivative. Just rewrite the 3 and multiply the derivatives of the natural logarithm of 3x plus 1, which is 1 over 3x plus 1 times the derivatives of the function, which is 3, minus 3 times the derivative of natural logarithm of 4x minus 1, which is 1 all over 4x minus 1 times the derivative of 4x minus 1, which is 4. So now we can simplify the function. 2 times 3 is 6 all over 3x plus 1 minus 3 times 4 is 12 all over 4x minus 1. Subtract the function and we have function of x is equal to 24x minus 6 minus 36x minus 12 all over the quantity of 3x plus 1 times the quantity of 4x minus 1. So let's simplify it. We have now derivative of function of x is equal to negative 12x minus 18 all over the quantity of 3x plus 1 times the quantity of 4x minus 1. We have to factor out the negative 6, so the derivatives of the function of x is equal to natural logarithm of 3x plus 1 squared all over the quantity of 4x minus 1 cubed is negative 6 times the quantity of 2x plus 3 all over 3x plus 1 times the quantity of 4x minus 1. The next function is the exponential function. We have these formulas to solve and get the derivative of exponential function, and you need to memorize or just familiarize to it. So now let us proceed to the sample problem. We have function of x is equal to cosine 3 raised to the power of pi x. On this problem, we are going to have to use the chain rule. The derivative of the cos sign is negative sign. We will leave or rewrite the inside, which is 3 raised to the power of pi x, but now we have to multiply by the derivative of the inside, which is 3 raised to the power of pi x. And getting the derivative of that, we will use the equation d over dx a raised to the power of function of x is equal to a raised to the power of function of x times natural logarithm of a times the derivative of the function of x. So now we will rewrite 3 raised to the power of pi x times natural logarithm of 3 times the derivative of the exponent, which is pi x, which is only pi. So the derivative of the equation is negative sign 3 raised to the power of pi x multiplied to the quantity of 3 raised to the power of pi x times ln or natural logarithm of 3 times pi. We can simplify it further into negative pi times 3 raised to the power of pi x multiplied to sine 3 raised multiply. We can simplify it further, so we have now derivative of function of x is equal to negative pi times 3 raised to the power of pi x sine raised to the power of pi x times the natural logarithm of 3. So that is the final answer. So now let us proceed to the last, which is the derivative of maxima and minima problem. A garden is to be laid out in a rectangular area at Mrs. Lopez's backyard. The area will be protected by a chicken wire fence. What is the largest area of a garden if only 125 running feet of a chicken wire is available for the fence? Before getting the derivative of that problem, we should calculate the area of a rectangle. We have a formula. Area is equal to length times width. We can let length is equal to x and width is equal to y. So now we have a formula of A is equal to x times y. Before that, we should get the value of y first. So we have a perimeter is equal to 2 length plus 2 width, or we can put it 125 is equals to 2x plus 2y. We need to transpose 2x to the left side because we are going to get the value of y. Next is, let's divide both sides by 2. 125 minus 2x all over 2 is equal to 62.5 minus x is equal to y. So now we have the value of y. The next thing is to substitute the value of y into the equation. A is equal to x times y. So we have now A is equals to x times the quantity of 62.5 minus x. Let's simplify it. X times 62.5 is equal to 62.5x minus x times x is equal to x squared. So now we have an equation for the area of a rectangle, which is area is equals to 62.5x minus x squared. Now let's get the derivative of the area. Derivative of the area with respect to x is equals to 62.5 minus 2x. The next thing is to equate it to 0 so that we can get the value of x. We subtract both sides 62.5 so that we have now a negative 2x is equal to negative 62.5. Let's divide both sides by negative 2 to get the value of x. So now we have x is equals to 31.25. So now we can go back to the equation of the area of the rectangle. We can now substitute the value of x into the equation. So we have now A is equals to 62.5 times 31.25 minus the quantity of 31.25 squared. We get the value of 976.5625. Let's round off to the nearest tens. So we have now 977 feet squared. Therefore, the 977 feet squared is the area of the garden if we have only 125 running feet of the fence. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you have learned something from this video. Once again, thank you so much and keep safe everybody.